Welcome in the Heroes podcast again. I'm so happy to be back with Steve Ramona. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How you doing? Thank you for having me on.
Thanks very much. Thanks for coming. Before we jump in, as usual, I want to give Steve an intro so you guys all know who I'm talking to and who we are going to interview for the best possible advices for networking. So, Steve discovered networking was the real deal at a very young age. And he's on a mission to teach the world how to network correctly. His passion for the law of increase is a secret sauce. Podcasting now is the new way to network and build an incredible inner circle. The ability to bring value, serving is a skill that will increase your networking. And this is how we have met, Steve. So I mean, you're not just teaching this, but this whole interview has come from doing that exactly. Do you want to tell us how has it started for you earlier in life? Do you have any struggles before you became the master connector, networker, podcaster?
Yeah, I learned at 18, my young age in the bio, and thank you. That's a great intro. My family started a health club and I worked the front desk. So I was meeting 40, 50, 60-year-olds, people way above level, making great money. But I was 18 years old. But I started building relationships and actually building a network with these people and then giving me tips how to make money, how to do this, and became my friends. So I built these powerful networks by building a relationship, by seeing them consistently and treating them with value. Hey, have a great workout. Hey, enjoy your vacation. I remember things they did. And we all loved that when somebody mentioned something, like you're going to Spain. I'm excited for you to go to Spain. I mentioned that. Oh God, he listened to me, thought he thinks about me. We all love that as humans. Well, I took that for years and built this large network because I was there from 79 to 2000, so 21 years. Built thousands of friends. Go to a restaurant. Hey, there's Steve from Royal Courts, was the name of the club. It was really awesome because now I was realizing I can help more people. Then in 2006, the struggle hit. Going good, meeting people, doing some network marketing, running my own businesses, doing well and learning, which was the most important thing. But I started a recycling company, computers and electronics in California. It was really important at the time to get this not put in landfills. And it was going great. I had 2 employees making great money, building a great customer base. People were loving our service. We were doing it for free because we got paid by the state to do that. And then 2012 hit and the state changed all the regulations as government bodies do. And, I started taking checks away from me, 5,000, 10,000. Oh, you didn't do this right. We're not going to pay you here. I'm like, hey, I've got all this time and money put into it. I need these checks. So I had a talk with my cousin Jeff and my dad, and we talked about, you got to bite the bullet. I'm like, oh my God, my employees, what are they going to do? They got to find a job. Steve, you keep going, they're going to not even get paychecks. Do you want to do that to them? I said, absolutely not. So I closed the business and it was really hard for 2 months. I was staying home watching TV, soap operas and doing crazy stuff like that, going, man, I really failed. I didn't fail. I did well for 7 years. Just things changed. And I had to go to my next venture, not worrying about, no business rarely do they last hundreds of years. They're a stepping stone to the next journey. And that's what I learned. And I got involved with a restaurant after that and learned the restaurant industry. So it was a blessing for me because it gave me more opportunities. Doors opened left and right for me.
And before you go into the next stage of your evolution, what was there this feeling of lost? Because I'm always looking at self-worth, lack of confidence. You mentioned 2 months full of soap operas. Like, I don't know how that builds someone's, let's say, muscles or self-confidence. Maybe it does. What were you struggling with the most?
Great question, Andre. Great question. Listeners, this happens a lot, but what happened to me was when I went out to the world, hey, how's your company doing? I had to tell them I had to close it. My self-worth went right down the toilet. And I have friends I didn't go to support, family, friends, my dad. I kind of just lived in this little black hole for a month or two. And I think it was my dad. It probably was my dad that said, hey, get up. And then because I built this network of great people, one of the members of the club, which now closed, reached out to me and said, let's meet. I've got an opportunity for you to help run this restaurant. If I stayed in my home and never got out and worried about my self-worth, that's why I love what you do, and having support, you can't do it yourself. It takes a village. Once I learned, hey, it's something that happened. It's not Steve Ramona. It was just life, in this case, business life. Let's go find something bigger and better. And that's what we did.
Well, I love it. And I think quite a principle to take away, very beginning of this conversation. You should not and never take on that whatever happened in the past on an identity level. So you could drop the previous business, drop the previous struggle, and restart something fresh. So you're not carrying that fear, that pain into the next business that could again cause issues or major problems or failures. So what happened after?
Well, and it's interesting, and I'll leave this, what I did too, when I was in that self-worth hole, I just made that up. That sounds pretty good, as a matter of fact, because I was in a hole and I was trying to dig out, was I just woke up one day and said, who can I help today? So I just started serving. My mindset started to change, going, Steve, you have self-worth. You just helped this person with something and they thanked you for it, or maybe they paid me for it, or whatever that boomerang effect came back. And that was powerful. So I want the audience to know that serving or doing something of value for somebody can help you get out of their self-worth, amongst other things, including talking to Andre as your coach, because he's powerful what he does. My next step was the restaurant. And by the way, that closed. 3 years, we had to close the restaurant. Didn't work out I wasn't the owner, but it closed. So then I met some friends and they were doing network marketing, and I was involved with network marketing. And I was involved with a company. I was doing presentations to 50 to 100 people every Saturday, growing a team of thousands of people. Talk about a blow to your self-worth. You're going to love this. And audience, please listen closely. So I'm just doing well. People are looking at me. I'm mentoring people. I'm serving people. They're making money. And I get a call on a Thursday, 2 years into this opportunity. The SEC shut us down. I went, what, John? He goes, I remember I was going to play softball, and I'm like, hey, I just want to let you know, we just found out that they just closed the office. Our business is over. I said, I've got $7,000 in this. He goes, well, we're going to try to get it back. Never got it back. But here's the lesson I learned about self-worth. Because it happened before with the recycling company, I learned this time not to sit in a black hole and watch Oprah. Nothing wrong with Oprah. But okay, what's my next journey? Like you said, what's my next adventure that I can do to keep serving, making your self-worth positive, and finding a thing where you can make and change the world or enrich people's lives, whatever that may be. And that led to starting networking groups and running networking groups.
That's very powerful. And I just want to make a note again, these takeaways. One was serving people, even if you have a problem, when you're starting helping people, usually comes back to you. And of course, as you said, the bounce back factor, when you become emotionally resilient, because things are changing on this planet, the laws are changing, and environments are shifting around, and usually that does not help a business sooner or later. So networking, the new stage, how has that I'm afraid to ask the question. How did you go with networking? Did you survive?
Well, I got invited to an event. I was doing another network marketing company, and it wasn't doing as well, but I was doing okay. But somebody said, hey, why don't you come? We're meeting. And this was in person. This was 12 years ago. And I went and met these people and said, hey, come aboard. We were part of a chamber of commerce. Oh, I said, what a great way I can meet these people and increase my network and get some new blood. And I kept coming, and I eventually started running it. And now I run it with the friend of mine, Joel, but I also run 5 other networking groups because people started seeing the serving I was doing, said, hey, can you come help run ours? Be a good leader, be a good example of how these networking groups should run, bring value, edify people. One thing I tell people all the time, Andre, and self-worth is such a fit in this. You have a bad day, you 2 sales they thought were going to go through didn't go through. Somebody didn't show up for a meeting. Something else happens, and you go, oh my God, we all have those. We're human. Life is that way. I tell people, and I do this, when I'm having a tough day, I go out and serve somebody. Feed the homeless. Call your best friend you haven't talked to in 5 years. Go in an email and reach out to somebody and offer a tip. Always bringing value every time my self-worth increases. Who doesn't feel good when you've helped somebody and they smile and they say, thank you? I just did it yesterday, and the lady sent me this beautiful email about what you did. And I didn't charge for this, and I do this for a living, but she needed a little help with her podcast. And I just gave her value on top of value on top of value. And I do that every single time I meet somebody. And my self-worth has gone from here to the top of my head, not from an ego standpoint, but from a serving standpoint. I know I am the best server in the world. I can help people because I shut up and I listen.
Wow, it's beautiful. There's so much I can take out of that little paragraph that you just shared with us that, well, I believe as a good concept that you just shared, when you see more and more evidence, the help that you gave, how much value that has translated into, probably there's a feedback mechanism to how you feel about yourself or your self-worth, and also it fills up your self-confidence tank, so to speak. And then obviously you end up more, I guess, more empowered when it comes to taking on bigger deals, bigger groups. And I think you are really in the center of the universe, I have to say, because I really get you that when they ask you, the expert, to run a group, and I don't know how many hundreds of people could be there, to run their event, then obviously you come in and you will be on the stage and or MC, which is automatically putting you in the authority seat. And of course, probably opportunities and other chances of business will land on your table. Would that be right?
Absolutely. Once you're considered a thought leader in what you're doing, in this case, like you said, an MC or lead a networking group, people are going to listen to you a little bit more. So if I edify you, Andre, and Joe hears it, he's thinking, I need to meet with Andre. Steve just said some great things about him. He helps with self-worth. Well, I know a few people that need help. It's the credibility, but it can come from a third party, me. Now, don't lie or make up stuff just to do it. But when you see something of value with somebody, you're right, Andre, your self-confidence increases. I got a call 5 weeks ago from a billionaire who runs a network marketing company. Saw my podcast, reached out to me. And I'm like, 2 years ago, I would have been a mess and I would have called you to help me because I wouldn't know what to do because my self-worth was at the bottom level. But because I'm doing the serving and the last 2 years I've been helping people and growth, I jumped on the call and, hey, how can I help you, Sam? What can we do? What are you looking for? Like I was talking to somebody that works 8 to 5 at Apple, because we're all people. We just have labels. And he was so excited. He hired us. We're going to work with him. He's going to pay us a lot of money, but we're going to help him with a philanthropic opportunity. So now it's a win-win-win. He feeds starving children. Now I can be part of this, get value by getting paid, bring him some great opportunities, and then he can help feed children. I can't think of a better way of doing business where it's a win-win-win. All
That's
because
beautiful.
of self-worth and self-confidence, like you talk about. It's so important because, and I'm sorry to interrupt because you get me so excited with this concept because it's serving. When you have self-worth, you're going to serve. You leave doors closed like that. If I would have said I'm not interested or didn't answer the phone, like, I don't know who this guy is, I answered it, opened the door, and it's going to lead to some great money for me, but even more so, I'm going to change some part of the world. That's why self-worth and what you do, Andre, is so important, because people are leaving doors closed every day. And I see it all the time where people are missing huge opportunities to make good money and to help people.
Well, there is just gold bars in every word that you say, because, well, you really touched my heart, because I do have a little project that's been running for 10 years, although recently, since COVID, not too active, where I was helping orphans, and obviously around, helping that lack of resources into lack of resourcefulness. And also I want to work with their mind, but have an open door and an open mind to listen and talk to people, where I see this word now, people have really high guards. Like, it's really hard to get to them sometimes, because obviously there is a lot of spam, there is a lot of well, yeah, cheaters out there, all kinds of rip-off people hanging around online and offline. So I understand the word is different than maybe 30, 40 years ago. And with that, we have a much larger opportunity. Would you say now online means you got billions of people probably to help, billions to reach? Would you say it's a new word in many ways?
Absolutely. Look at us. You're in Paris. I'm in Northern California. We didn't have this opportunity on Zoom, we would never met and have the opportunity to change lives like we're doing right now on this show. There is more opportunity now for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs than ever, because of the advent of Zoom and Microsoft Meeting, Microsoft, all those different Google. I forget the names of those different apps because I don't use them. But when people tell me I can't, where do I find people? There's over 11,000 networking groups out there, and a lot of them are free or come as a guest. I've been invited to BNIs left and right. Hey, come present, tell us about, your product, or tell us about doing business with a servant's heart. When you become a thought leader, which is what I teach people, they're going to knock on your door and go, hey, can you come here? Can you come here? And here's the big announcement. The door is open big for me because of the podcast and serving more so than the podcast. I just signed a contract Saturday to launch my own TV show.
Oh, wow. Is it in the
9 million
US?
subscribers across the world.
Well, do you want to tell us? Like, we want to know.
Yeah, well, it's going to be called Networking with Purpose. And the tagline was doing business and life with a servant's heart, because I put business in there because that's what was my focus with the podcast, but it's also life. You go to a grocery store and you see an old lady trying to reach up and grab a bag of something. You go over and you grab it and give it to her. You may never see her again, but you just served her in life. You helped her. If we think that way more than, she's going to yell at me, we think the negative side of that, then we close that door. We have to always think of value, how we can help. And sometimes you can't help somebody. That's okay. We're not meant to work with everybody in the world. We're meant to work with people that want to work with us. And that's the most important thing. Build that inner circle of like and trust, and let's have the same mission, desire, the same why, as Simon Sinek would say.
Yeah, I think what you said is really powerful, to having not so much the right intentions, but an intention to help, support, nurture, teach, however we call it, to build people, build circles of influences. And I see up just above your head, this is running top 1% podcast globally. Is this the one that you're talking about? Or
Yes, it is. Yeah. Well, that's the podcast. The TV
okay.
show will be coming October 20th. we'll launch our first show. And it's again, an opportunity for me to help more people, to talk about networking and serving, because that's what goes together. We all, if you talk to 100 people, probably 99 have been to a virtual meeting somewhere, because that's COVID brought us there, which is great. But doing it right, not trying to sell your product. Don't try to pitch people. Walk in or go jump on a Zoom and just start building relationships. You pick out, if there's 20 people there, pick out 3 or 4 people you really like and just reach out. Let's set up a one-on-one. Let's get to know each other and jump on that call. Here's a great tip for the audience. Jump on your one-on-one calls with the mindset of building a relationship, but value. So you start listening to the person you're talking to, and they're talking about these pain points, or I need help here, or I'm looking for this. Then you write down, I've got this person, this person, and this person. Here's a tip. I use this software. Your meetings will go to skyrocketing. I'll give an example. Yesterday, a story. I met with a lady, and we started talking, and right away she started talking about her business. I said, stop. I've got these 2 guests you need to have on your show. She goes, oh my God, who are you? I'm like, Steve Ramona. She goes, you do what I do? And she does trauma. She helps with people with trauma. You just connected with me because I listened to her. And our meeting went from this to up here to where I got that email today, like, God bless you. Thank you. I was so excited to work with you. I want to help you. How can I help you? Who can I connect you with? It's a winner. She's winning. I'm winning. She's going to launch a podcast. She's excited what she does, because all I thought about is how can I bring her value?
Well, this is so insightful, guys. Networking calls, networking groups. Pick a few people and give them what they need, or what they need help with, or maybe connect them with someone, open some doors, or give some tips that will take them forward. And then it will come back, maybe not sometimes from the same people, but the universe does not forget.
Amen. Yeah.
So tell us about your podcast, because you haven't told much about your own podcast yet. I'm fully excited about the TV show, and I hope you will give us information, and we'll share it, of course, under the video. But how do you operate? How can people engage with your podcast? Where can they find it? Tell us.
Yeah. So if you could see this is video, see Doing Business with a Servant's Heart, you can search down on all the podcast platforms. You'll find me. We'll put in the show notes where you can find it as well. The YouTube channel, I just finished my 187th show, almost at 190, and I launched in October. So I've done a lot of shows. And what's happened is it's grown into this movement, Andre, of people overcoming obstacles. For example, Scott, who's a guest on my show, he jumped into a lake in his 20s, hit the bottom of the lake, broke his neck, and became a quadriplegic. He started sucking water in. Thank God I don't have the picture. I'd pull it up, but I don't have. But the family dog loved him and was his buddy. Would run down to the dock, sitting there waiting for him. And you know, his dogs realized he hadn't come up yet. He starts barking loudly. Well, the family's like, what's going on? They looked and they didn't see Scott. So they run down, they pull him out. Doctors gave him a 0.0001% chance of living. Pretty much he's going to be dead. He survived. And then he was asked, while he's surviving, he's got this all this apparatus and is trying to breathe and help him breathe and all that. And in Michigan, you can make the choice. And they walked up and said, do you want to live? Basically saying, do you want to pull this off? And you probably will pass away. Again, I don't ever want to be in that position. I know probably Andre, you don't either, but he was. And what's amazing about the podcast is he said family and community is why I said no. And he kept it on. Now he's quadriplegic, can only use his head, but he's out speaking in a wheelchair about disabilities and being an advocate for them. Those are the stories that are incredible, and there's many more. Your self-worth could have been destroyed when you break your neck. Can you imagine? But lost his wife, lost, people left him. It was like he was left to hang and dry. But he pulled up his bootstraps and said, I can do something with my life, which is why he stayed alive. There is something, in this case, he was saying, God is going to do something for me. Well, he just built his self-worth back up. I mean, I have a gentleman that's is paralyzed. He climbed a mountain in Ogden, Utah of 9,000 feet. He did it with the support of 20 people who helped him do it. Jeff's a great friend of mine now, amazing person. But again, in his 20s, he, broke his back and became paralyzed. He could have given up. And he told me many times I wanted to. My self-worth is to the bottom. But again, you can't do it alone. You need a village. You need support of people or a coach like you, Andre. You can't get out of it without that. You cannot do it yourself. I couldn't. And I thank my family and I thank the people that were there. My best friend, Mike, love him to death. They're just there for me and they just brought me back up. So keep in mind, don't do this alone. Don't be alone. Reach out.
Very powerful. Find something bigger than you, a purpose that inspires you. And as you heard, mentors, family, support, or get a coach. And thanks for reminding the people about that, Steve. And how else are you? Because I get it. You are the master connector, and probably there must have been massive value change in your networking groups. It's guaranteed. I can see that. How else? What other tools have you got to support people who are looking for that next level of gain in business?
One tool that I tell people all the time when I mentor businesses, and I'm going to give you a free tip, is listeners, get better 1% every day. Looks different for everybody. For me, I try to read and I try to serve. And that's one way you can do. Go out and every day try to serve somebody, family member, client, prospect, whoever it may be. But get better 1% every day. It's October 4th. So we've got 2 months left. So we got about 40 days. Imagine what your life's going to look like. You got 40% better by January 1st, 2024. You're going to grow. You're probably going to make more money. You're going to build a network. And you're going to feel incredible. Imagine starting that January 1st, 2024. You do it for 365 days. What does your life look like and your business look like 365% better? If it doesn't get better, you call me. I will send you a gift. It's just the law of numbers. When you get better, personal development. Again, you've got to decide. Reach out to Andre as a coach. You get a coach. What a great way to get better 1% every day. Hey, as you meet with Andre or your coach and say, okay, what can I do for the next week before I meet with you? Call to actions. That's getting better and doing them. See, here's the problem, Andre. People say a lot. It's the actions. You could tell me, Steve, look at your calendar, look at who you're talking to and these steps. If I never take those steps, I'm not getting better 1% every day.
That's a big
take action. Yeah.
Well, I can help people to release those breaks and those limitations, but I think connections and the right people around is a must-have these days. As the saying goes, your network is your net worth. And I want to encourage everyone listening to this is reach out to Steve. He will be able to direct you to either the right networking group or through his programs to then link you to open doors where your product or service is matching, the right customers. And if not, I'm pretty sure you will find someone else or a number of someone else's who could direct you or your business to where the solution is that you're looking for, either, I guess, leads or customers or interest to what you do. Would that be right?
That would be. And since I've been serving and since the launch of the podcast and having this mantra mission of serving, my leads, I get 3 to 5, sometimes 10 referrals a day. I'm sure when I go back to my email, I'll have 1 or 2 referrals. Hey, you need to meet with Steve. Oh my God, Steve, he's amazing. He can help you. He's a connector. And I appreciate you saying that. Because I've brought value. And what happens? When people see something good, they want to share it. We see a great movie. Say it was the new Mission Impossible movie, if you're a moviegoer. What are you going to do when you get together with people? Hey, what's the last movie? I saw Mission Impossible. Unbelievable. It was a this and that. Well, that's across life. When somebody's got a great tip, a great resource, a great referral, a great person to connect, we're going to tell people, we're going to tell our world. But it starts with the serving and building a relationship.
So I was wondering why you were saying that. How do you deal with tens of leads coming in every day? Did you set up a team so you have taken care of
Great
them that way?
question. Yeah, that's a great question. Well, one thing with leads, or somebody connects you with somebody, please follow up within 24 hours if you can. If you're on vacation, you can't, that's the case, but try to follow up in 24 hours. I do. Like, if I go back to my email after this show and I look and I have 2 connections, I'll reach out. Hey, and I always say, it's an honor to meet you. Thank you, Andre, for the connection. Let's connect on a one-on-one. Make it simple, but you got to follow up. And then you meet with them. And I went back to pad and paper. I date it, and I have all my information of all the people I meet, but I can also write down notes as people are talking. Okay, I got to introduce Andre here. I got to introduce here. But again, follow your own system. But the key is, in CRMs are great. I have a CRM, whatever that system is. But the follow-up is, again, it's part of building relationships. Let's use this example. This is a great one. You're going to love this, Andre. So you're dating somebody, you go on a first date and you like them and they like you. Well, if you never do a second date and follow up with that, nothing happens. I know, isn't that crazy? We don't think about it in business, but I call it business marriages. If you want to be married to somebody, in this case, partnership, where you're working together, you've got to follow the value. That's a value. That's serving a follow-up. People kind of look at follow-up like I'm bothering somebody. Hell no. Excuse my language. You are following up to serve them more. Here, Tony. Yeah, I just found somebody else. Let's reconnect. I'm doing that today. Somebody reached out and said, hey, we need to reconnect. I've got some things for you. I did that 2 days ago. 2 people want to reconnect and get my thoughts on something. They want me to partner up. The follow-up is a serving thing. It's not a negative thing. Like sales. Sales are serving. You have value. They have a pain. Your value can solve the pain. That's all it is. Your self-worth should never drop when you're doing sales. People go, my wife says it all the time, and she sells every day. I'm not a salesperson, but she's got packed Pilates classes because people love her. She's a great teacher. She's laughing and playing music. She brings value to these people, and they keep coming to see her. So guess what? That gym is really benefiting. Of course, her, because she gets paid. But even my wife is in a different level, is different way, is doing the serving. So you only get it 2 ways. You could walk in a room and go, hey, Andre, good to meet you. Yeah. Or, hey, Andre, good to meet you. You're a doctor of self-worth, man. I got 2 people you need to meet. They're having problems right now. Would you like to meet them? What are you going to say? And you don't have to yell like you do or get but have energy in your voice. I'm getting deep on this, but that's all about self-worth. If you're not doing that, I'm going to fall back, and you need to reach out to Andre and talk about it, because big part of it's your self-worth. Right now, I'm on fire with confidence because I'm helping so many people. That's why I'm like this. And I'm usually like it anyways because I'm a people person. Even an introvert. If you're an introvert out there, listeners, here's another thing for you, another tip. Go out and serve somebody, just one-on-one. Just go to a homeless shelter and feed them, or whatever it may be. You don't have to talk to them. You could just say, hey, can I help you with that bag? Here. Okay, thank you. And walk away. And you mentioned earlier, which is the powerful word, your universe will change. You don't need to be an extrovert to serve. Absolutely not. I could serve to hundreds of people. But you serve one person, the universe sees that and feels that energy. So it's a big win for introverts.
I love your insight, because introverts are sometimes creating stories, then really limiting their own experience of life or what they could have. And so they need help to step out of their little comfort zone. Steve, what I haven't asked today that you wanted to share, or what we must know about how you run your business, how you're helping people, and you haven't had a chance to share?
Well, the big thing is setting up meeting people. We need people, whether it's clients or referral agents or partners, whatever word you want. I'll tell you another story. So in 2020, I have a lot of stories, and I love stories. I'm involved with a tech company called Infone. It's a digital business card. So when I started working with them, and my partner James is still a friend and partner today, I wanted to go, okay, I don't want to go to my network, which I did already for a month. Here's what I'm doing. If you're interested, I got some sales because I built the relationship. I served them in the past. But I need to meet new people, which is what we say, the ongoing, you probably hear it all the time as a coach. I need more people. I need to meet new people. So I jumped into a networking group that was free. They had like 40 meetings a week. So I went through on Monday and went through and went, okay, I'm going to do 3 to 5 meetings a day for 5 days for a month. And I did. Started meeting people, setting up one-on-ones. You know how many people I met in that first, I think it was 6 weeks? 500 new people were in my network.
That's a lot.
It's you had to jungle it. That's why I only did 3 to 5, because I needed room for one-on-ones. But I started building, and I would see them the next week, and hey, I can't wait for our one-on-one. I might give them value in the group. But it's super, build relationships. Just start building relationships. If you just do that, your business is going to grow. How much, we don't know. That's the universe things, but you're going to be happier.
And I would just want to add, guys, if you are thinking of 500 people, well, it's not just 500 people. It's 500 people's connections who you could have access to in certain ways if you ask for, again, connections, open doors, help, whatever. They will be able to support you and help you. That's powerful. So,
and I'll add to this, Andre. So, because numbers are what people, ROI is the big thing. I became the top sales guy in the company after 3 months. Because you're right. Those 500 go, you need to talk to Steve. I just bought this product. You need to talk to him. So I was starting to get referrals like crazy. Because if you affect 500 people correctly with value, they're going to be going, oh, this guy needs to meet Steve. This girl needs to meet Steve. And I would get calls, and my partner's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm just building relationships. Like, we get these orders keep coming in because, one, I cared, and I believe in the product, which you should, but I didn't try to sell them. Here's what I got. Here's how I can help you. Well, I like you, Steve. I had many people tell me, I like you, Steve. Here, I'm going to buy the product. You help me with it. Absolutely. That is the best close in the world. I like you, whoever you are. I'm going to buy from you, because that's what most people buy.
Yeah, and I think in some way it's a lot to do with the law of reciprocity as well. As I had that feeling sometimes that some of the people helped me so much that I really just wanted to give back. I didn't even care what I'm buying, but I just wanted my money to land on their bank account.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, there's people I know making hundreds of thousands of dollars. People are ponying up 25,000. to join our mastermind. They're happy to do it because they want to be around us. Now, for some people, a lot of people, that's a lot of money. Again, it's got to be a perspective, but a lot of times people are going to overspend because they want to be around you or be part of this business, company, whatever you're doing. And that's the best marketing in the world.
Steve, I would love to have this conversation running for the next few hours. And as we are nearing the end, is there any golden nuggets? I know you gave away heaps already, but is there anything that you want to give away to someone who is kind of afraid of podcasting, afraid of networking, what they could do now? They have this inner inkling that, oh, maybe I should get out there and do something, but there is something holding them back. What would you say to them?
Dream big. And make a promise. One of my guests we had a great conversation about this. Goals, they can be broken. You can set a goal to make 100,000 in 2023. You hit 98,000. You didn't hit your goal. It's okay. But when you dream, you need to make promises to yourself and to your clients or whoever. And that's where serving comes in. If you break a promise, that connection's over. If I say, I'm going to be on this show, I never show up, I've broken a promise to be a guest on your show. That's the worst thing. So make promises, stick to them, and dream big. I know you hear it all the time, but Warren Buffett, Mark Cuban, all those successful, hyper successful entrepreneurs, Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, they all started what we did. They didn't wake up and become multi-billionaires. They started at the same level we are. You're just starting at a lower tier of the ladder, lower leg of the ladder. You're just going to start walking that ladder. But there's no reason why we can't be Richard Bransons of the world.
Thanks very much. Well, man of words, man of action, we need to become. And it's about congruency. Steve Ramona, thank you very much for your time. I really love this, and we'll give the audience every detail you have. And also, if you have anything give away, so you'll find it under the video. Thanks very much, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you. It's been a great show. I appreciate you having me on.